Hey y'all, this is Coach in the Fight here. We're looking at Revelations chapter 10. You know, I've been looking at what they say about this little book. Well, not what they say, but what Revelation say. I wanted to take a look at what it says. I wanted to take a look at what Revelation says about the little book. So we here, I'm at this website here is, let me go ahead and get a copy of it. All right, so we're going to go ahead and read it. It says, Chapter 10 provides an intermission after the description of the events of sixth trumpet, the second woe, to give us more details about what is happening during the execution of the Lord's judgments on earth and what it all means. It represents the transition from the last half of the 7 years, which includes the great tribulation of the saints and the execution of the trumpet judgments of the Lord. Okay. Now it goes on to list a lot of stuff here that goes on during this time period in this site here, and you can pause it and read the rest of it. And I haven't fact checked this. I thought it would add some information to this. All right, so we right here. Now, what we want to do is go over here to BibleGateway.com. I don't know if you guys are familiar with BibleGateway.com, but it has the ability to do this. Now, so what we're going to do is we're going to go to Revelations chapter 10. And we're going to let it play. Not sure how long it is. Yeah, I am. It's 3 minutes and 36 seconds. So we're going to let this roll, guys.
Chapter 10. And I saw another mighty angel come down from heaven, clothed with a cloud, and a rainbow was upon his head, and his face was, as it were, the sun, and his feet as pillars of fire. And he had in his hand a little book open. And he set his right foot upon the sea, and his left foot on the earth, and cried with a loud voice, as when a lion roareth. And when he had cried, 7 thunders uttered their voices. And when the 7 thunders had uttered their voices, I was about to write. And I heard a voice from heaven saying unto me,
Seal up those things which the 7 thunders uttered, and write them not.
And the angel which I saw stand upon the sea and upon the earth lifted up his hand to heaven, and sware by him that liveth for ever and ever, who created heaven, and the things that therein are, and the earth, and the things that therein are, and the sea, and the things which are therein, that there should be time no longer. But in the days of the voice of the 7th angel, when he shall begin to sound, the mystery of God should be finished, as he hath declared to his servants the prophets. And the voice which I heard from heaven spake unto me again, and said,
Go, and take the little book which is open in the hand of the angel, which standeth upon the sea and upon the earth.
And I went unto the angel, and said unto him, Give me the little book. And he said unto me,
Take it, and eat it up, and it shall make thy belly bitter, but it shall be in thy mouth sweet as honey.
And I took the little book out of the angel's hand, and ate it up. And it was in my mouth sweet as honey. And as soon as I had eaten it, my belly was bitter. And he said unto me,
Thou must prophesy again before many peoples, and nations, and tongues, and kings.
All right, so let's look at these verses. We're trying to see if this little book that they're talking about is in Revelations, and I'm sorry, but I didn't pull out each one of these. I should have pulled out each one of these verses in the whole chapter, because it's starting to look like it is. So let's look at what I do have here, and maybe we'll do it, expound on it a little later. We want to go ahead and we want to keep this short. Looking at the little book in Revelations. Verse 2 says, And he had in his hand a little book open, and he set his right foot upon the sea, and his left foot upon the earth. Now we have to wonder who this angel is that's doing this. This is a very particular angel, because it is this angel who has the book. Now, is this Elijah, or is this another angel? Who is the angel that had both his one foot on the sea and one foot on the earth? Now, if you know, leave it in the comments. If you know the answer, I'm asking because I don't know. So leave it in the comments who this angel is, because it's this angel that holds this book. Now let's go on. Verse 8 says, The voice of which I heard from heaven spake unto me again, and said, Go and take the little book which is open in the hand of the angel which standeth upon the sea and upon the earth. Now, for a minute, let's assume that this is the angel Elijah, for for lack of a better angel to choose, and let's say that the little book that he has is the Third Testament, and then let's speak on that. So, it may be an error, may not be, but let's just go down that road and see where it leads, if you know what I mean. So it says, and the voice which I heard from heaven spake unto me again and said, Go and take the little book which is open in the hand of the angel, which standeth upon the sea and upon the earth. So the angel would have this little book. Elijah would have this little book that he's talking about. He's telling John to go and take the little book, as in go and get it from Elijah. And he says, and I went unto the angel and said unto him, Give me the little book. And he said unto me, Take it and eat it up, and it shall make thy belly bitter, but it shall be in thy mouth as sweet as honey. Now, when I first went through and Stacey, you can ready to help me out here, but when I first went through the Third Testament, it seems like I remember thinking that this sounds great, as if, as I'm consuming it and reading and hearing it for the first time, this sounds like the most wonderful thing I ever heard in my life. But then as it sank in and I started to think about it, it turned into more of a bitter thing, as in how off base I was and how bad I was, and what I'm saying, how my conscience reacts to well, you remember that time period, Stay?
What I do remember is, yeah, when you first start reading it, um, it does. It's like a wave of fresh new information. I got to get more of it. And I remember you being constantly uh, on it. All day, all night. Every time I look up, you was on it. But then, yeah, you start talking about how there were things in it that wasn't not lining up to your life, but there's just some things in it that you need to work on.
Like love, like my thoughts, like all of that stuff talking about in Hermes, like all of that stuff that we have to work on to become spiritually elevated. It's like I heard this thing, it's like the best thing I done heard in forever, but I'm realizing at the same time I got work to do, and I believe that's what he's saying here, is that this little book is going to be in your mouth when you consume it, great, but then when you start to realize how much work you got, how dirty you are, and how much cleaning you have to do to get where you want to be, is like a little bit bitter. So let's go on. Revelation 10:10 says, and I took the little book out of the angel's hand and ate it up, and sure enough, it was in my mouth sweet as honey, and as soon as I had eaten it, my belly was bitter. Okay. So, and I think that was the last verse. So I don't know, guys. What do you think? Do you think he's talking about the Third Testament? I'm gonna let you decide. Leave it in the comments. Tell me what you think. And we'll leave it at that. Sometimes it's best to leave it with the question: Is this the little book that he's talking about? If so, what are the thunders? We need to find out what the thunders are. Hermes Academy. Power, patience, continence, and faith. We teach virtue.